I've been told.
Let the official photographer through, please. Let the official photographer through. Okay, smile please, everybody.
Elizabeth, where's your uncle?
Sorry?
I don't think your uncle's here.
Isn't he?
Smile please. That's it. Big smile from everybody.
Oh, well.
Sorry. The film's finished.
And for once, I didn't have my eyes closed.
Sorry, Jeff. Sorry, Elizabeth.
All right.
Still, never mind. I think the car's waiting to take you to the airport anyway.
Oh, yes.
Hey, what's that?
What?
The car. Is that the car that's going to take us to the airport?
Yes.
You didn't tell me about this.
No, it was a little surprise. You remember you talked about doing things in the totally traditional style?
Yeah?
Well, I'd say this car was quite traditional, wouldn't you?
Oh, it sure is. Where did it come from?
It belongs to some friends of Uncle William. They have a kind of museum of vintage cars.
It's beautiful. Who's that in the driver's seat with the leather cap and the goggles? He looks kind of familiar.
Come on then, get in. You've got a plane to catch.
I thought he looked kind of familiar. Well, everybody, I guess we have to go.
Yes, our driver is getting impatient. Coming, Uncle William.
Just a minute. I'm going to change the film in my camera.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a nice time.
Sorry.
Bye-bye.
I don't think I've got another film. Oh, yes, I have. I've just found a film in my other pocket. Never mind. All the best. Bye.
Film.
Let the official photographer through.
To take a photo. Camera. Farewell. Church. An arched door. Wedding ceremony. Priest. Bible. Wedding train. Films. Go to see films from English-speaking countries in their original versions, i.e., with subtitles rather than with the dialogue dubbed into your language. Radio. Listen to radio programs in English. Records. Very often these days, record albums give the texts of songs, so listening to albums by your favorite English-speaking artists can give you some very enjoyable practice. Newspapers. Buy an English language newspaper from time to time, or, if possible, regularly. It is a good idea to buy the same newspaper on several occasions, because you then become used to its style, although, of course, it is also interesting to look at different ones. Newspapers will give you useful reading practice. In many cases, you will already be familiar with the events in major news stories, so you will know what an article is about before you begin reading it in English. Magazines. Like major English language newspapers, some magazines, such as Time and Newsweek from the USA, are often quite easy to find in many different countries. You might also be able to discover a magazine in English about one of your hobbies or interests and take a subscription to it. There are also magazines about the English language itself, such as English Today, published by Cambridge University Press.
Pen friends. Most of the suggestions above are concerned with practice in listening or reading. Obviously, from time to time, you can give yourself some practice in writing by doing some written exercises, for example, but it is more satisfying to write something real, such as a letter to a pen friend, books and cassettes. There are many publishers around the world who produce books and cassettes, both audio and video, for learners of English. Graded readers. The term graded readers is often used by publishers to describe series of books at different levels, from books in very simple English through gradually increasing levels of difficulty, up to literary classics, parallel text. You may enjoy reading books of parallel text, such as collections of short stories, in which a translation is given opposite the original English version. The British Council. The British Council has offices in 80 countries around the world, and, amongst its many activities, provides useful information to learners of English about courses, publications, and so on. Many of its centres have a library, and also offer English lessons, and arrange other activities of interest to learners of the language.
Two events at the same moment. As I said the word goodbye, there was a flash of lightning. One event, and then another event. When Jack arrived, Bob left. Two activities at the same time. While you were waiting for us at the station, we were trying to get through a traffic jam, with the idea of change or development. As he got older, Uncle Joe became more and more mysterious. An event during an activity.
During a short activity, as when I was coming out of the supermarket, I dropped my bags.
During a longer activity, as when while I was crossing the park, it started to rain. During a long activity, when while I was living in Spain, I met Salvador Dali.
Good luck to all of you.
No problem.
Wow.
How wonderful they glide. It's a pity the match is being over.
Yes, all good things must come to an end.
All's well that ends well.
Mountains. Mountain breeze. Glide. Wings. Wild goose. Peak. Hand climbing.
Elizabeth, Jeff, Anna, I asked you to join me for lunch today because
Being very formal, Uncle William.
Am I? Yes, well, this is a working lunch, you know. We're here on business.
Oh, I see.
Now, Jeff, do you remember the last time you and I and Elizabeth were in this restaurant? I asked you if you wanted to travel a little less after getting married.
Yes.
And you said you prefer it, if possible, and that you and Elizabeth had often talked about it.
That's right.
We've talked about it a lot.
And Anna, you probably remember a rather vague question.
A hypothetical question.
A hypothetical question, yes, that I asked you recently.
Yes, I remember.
Well, let me explain what I have in mind. In a few years' time, I'd like to start taking it a bit easier.
Do you mean you're going to stop working?
Well, not entirely, but more or less, yes. All good things must come to an end, as they say. Tempus fugit, and so on. Anyway, the company's doing fine.
That's because it's got a good boss.
Thank you, Elizabeth. My feelings exactly. No. Seriously, it's doing fine because it's got a lot of good staff. And two of the best are sitting right here.
What? Right here in this restaurant?
Where are they? Let's ask them to join us.
Anna, you know very well that I'm talking about Jeff and yourself.
Well, that's very kind of you, but...
Credit where credit's due. That's all. Anyway, let me tell you about my idea. So, that's the idea. Over the next few years, you both get to know the business from all sides, and then, when I decide to start taking it easy, I can leave the company in safe hands.
Let me get this straight. You'd like us to run the company jointly?
That's right.
With Jeff working mainly here in London, and me having responsibility abroad mainly.
Exactly.
I think it's a great idea. Jeff won't have to travel so much.
And Anna, as you still enjoy it, you can travel as much as you like. And the job would involve a lot of travelling, believe me. If you look at my diary for the past year, you'll see what I mean.
Well, I don't know what to say. It sounds perfect.
Yes, if you're sure that's what you want.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure about it. Right, let's settle then. Let's shake hands on it.
Right.
Good.
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 There's just one thing I'd like to add, Uncle William.
What's that?
Your tie is in your soup.
Oh, yes. Waiter, there's a tie in my soup.
Having soup. Puzzled. Query. Tablecloth. Applaud. Turn around. Whistle.
Tea.
Great.
I was just thinking. Do you remember once, quite a while back, I told you my 8 records to take to a desert island?
Yes?
Well, you know what one of them was? I'm Gonna Get Married by Lloyd Price.
Oh, yes.
Well, that was a very appropriate record because, well, I don't know if you know this, but in a few days I am, in fact, gonna get married.
Really? To somebody nice, I hope.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think so anyway.
Anybody I know?
Maybe. Her name's Elizabeth Jones. Medium height, long hair.
Never heard of her. Actually, this is quite a coincidence, because in fact, I am also getting married quite soon.
You don't say. Who's the lucky guy?
His name's Jeff Grant, but you probably haven't met him. He's been away from London a lot of the time recently.
Well, that's gonna change.
Ah, so you do know him.
Yeah, I know him very well, as a matter of fact. He's a very charming and sensitive guy, isn't he?
Oh, I found these photos. Do you remember when we went punting in Oxford?
Yes.
There's a great one of you just after you fell in.
Ah. Oh, yes. Very elegant. Very athletic.
And here we are somewhere having a picnic. That was the day we talked about the wind in the willows.
That's right. And you know me. I'm still bewitched, entranced, and fascinated.
Isn't it amazing how time flies?
Yeah. It only seems like yesterday that we met on the plane coming back to London. Remember?
Oh, yes. I seem to have a vague memory of that.
And the day you sent me a card for Washington's birthday. Remember that? That only seems like yesterday, too.
And the day we went to see that new Woody Allen film. That only seems like yesterday. Time really flies.
It sure does. Wait a minute. It was yesterday that we went to see that new Woody Allen film.
Of course it was. Just testing.
Curtain. Recall. Old photos. Flower arrangement. Necklace. Praise. Gold watch. Metal art.
So, with great pleasure, I'd like to propose a toast to the bride and groom, Elizabeth and Jeff.
Elizabeth and Jeff.
Well, thank you all for being here and for sharing today with us. Elizabeth and I aren't very good at making speeches, but there's someone here who's an expert.
Yes. Uncle William, would you do us the honour of a few well-chosen words?
Yes, come on.
Come on,
Well, this is a surprise. You've caught me completely unprepared. Yes, well, what can I say? They make a lovely couple. He's a very lucky man, and she's a very brave woman. Only joking, of course. I couldn't wish for a nicer nephew-in-law. Is there such a word, nephew-in-law? Sounds a bit strange, doesn't it? Anyway, on these occasions, people usually give the newly married couple some words of advice. I remember some advice I was given once. Always be positive. On the long road of life, put your best foot forward. Oh, this is excellent advice, I think. Although I've never been able to follow it myself. My problem is that I've never been able to decide which is my best foot. Consequently, I've always hopped down the long road of life like a kangaroo. However, I'm not here to talk about my problems. I'd just like to say, and I speak for all of us, I'm sure, all the very best to Elizabeth and Jeff.
Wipe the glasses. Speech. Paper flower. Formal dress. Celebrate. Wine glass.
Adverbs, word form and usage. You speak English perfectly. Time goes so fast.
Frankly, I think that's nonsense. We arrived late.
Read any good books lately?
Uncountable nouns.
No flour upon the ground. I saw smoke coming out of a trench.
Life begins at 40.
Silence is golden.
Time is money.